The red and blue lights of the police cruiser cut through the quiet suburban evening like an unwelcome alarm. Karen, the HOA president, stood defiantly on my lawn with her phone glued to her ear. She was calling 911, claiming my new yard sculpture posed an immediate threat to everyone nearby. I watched from my porch steps with a mix of disbelief and growing amusement inside me. My name is Jason, and I had always tried to be the calm, reasonable guy next door. This whole mess started with a simple dead tree in my front yard 6 months earlier. The massive oak had succumbed to disease, leaving bare branches against the clear blue sky. I figured it was my property, so I could deal with it on my own timeline. But Karen had other ideas as the self-appointed guardian of neighborhood perfection. Her first official letter arrived in a crisp white envelope demanding immediate removal of the eyesore. The words on the page were cold and bureaucratic, threatening fines for any non-compliance. I sent back a polite email explaining my busy schedule and promising action soon enough. Little did I know that small delay would ignite her insatiable hunger for control. She began driving by my house multiple times a day, slowing down to inspect the tree. The neighbors started giving me side glances, fueled by her subtle campaigns of gossip. I could feel the social pressure mounting like a storm cloud over the cul-de-sac. The smell of barbecues and cut grass now carried an undercurrent of silent judgment. One particularly frustrating evening, after receiving yet another violation notice, I reached my limit. Instead of hiring a crew to chop the tree down, I chose a more creative path forward. I contacted a local chainsaw artist known for turning dead wood into stunning sculptures. Together we planned the transformation over coffee in my kitchen, mapping every detail carefully. The project began on a crisp Saturday morning with the roar of the chainsaw echoing loudly. Wood chips scattered across the lawn as we carefully shaped the tall trunk step by step. My arms ached from the effort, but a sense of empowerment grew with each precise cut. By the end of the second weekend, the dead tree had become a 30-foot-tall masterpiece. The giant hand rose majestically from the ground with its middle finger extended in bold defiance. The detailed carving captured every knuckle and vein, making it look almost alive in the sunlight. I stepped back, wiping sweat from my brow, and admired the artistic one-finger salute. The fresh scent of carved pine filled the air, bringing a smile to my tired face. News of the sculpture spread quickly through the suburb like an electric shock wave. Karen arrived at first light the next day with her face contorted in uncontrolled anger. "What have you done to that tree?" she demanded in a voice sharp and accusatory. I remained composed, leaning against the railing as I met her gaze steadily. "The tree was dead, Karen, but now it is a unique piece of yard art on my land." She gestured wildly at the towering hand, with her cheeks flushing in righteous indignation. "This is completely unacceptable and against all our HOA aesthetic guidelines," she insisted loudly. Her words hung in the air, drawing a small crowd of curious neighbors to the sidewalk. I kept my response measured and logical, refusing to match her escalating hysteria. "The covenants do not prohibit sculptures or artistic expressions," I pointed out calmly. She stormed away, muttering about consequences and emergency board meetings under her breath. From that moment, the harassment intensified with daily complaints and social shunning. She organized a petition drive, going door to door with dramatic stories about dropping property values. Rumors circulated that I was a rebel intent on destroying the suburban dream we all shared. Anonymous letters showed up in my mailbox, filled with insults and vague threats. The isolation weighed heavily on me, but I channeled it into gathering evidence methodically. Every email, every conversation, and every drive-by was documented with timestamps and notes. My phone became a powerful tool, capturing videos of her unhinged confrontations on my property. The tension built steadily, making everyday tasks feel like walking through a minefield. Then she made her biggest mistake by involving the police in her personal crusade. The sirens blared as the patrol car arrived, and 2 officers approached the scene cautiously. Karen pointed dramatically at the sculpture, describing it as an obscene public eyesore. "Officer, you have to do something about this vulgar hand. It is endangering us all." The lead officer surveyed the hand, then turned to me with a barely suppressed grin. "Sir, is this sculpture located entirely on your own private property?" he inquired politely. I affirmed that it was and provided the full backstory without raising my voice once. He concluded there were no violations of city ordinances regarding private property decorations. Karen's expression shifted from triumph to barely contained fury as her plan backfired. She continued her efforts by filing formal complaints with the local city planning department. The constant battles drained my energy but strengthened my resolve to expose her hypocrisy. I spent late nights poring over the HOA bylaws and consulting with a local attorney. Selective enforcement of rules was explicitly forbidden, and her actions matched the definition perfectly. Her friends received passes for similar issues while I faced relentless scrutiny and fines. I assembled a comprehensive file including all records, photos, and recorded phone conversations. The annual HOA meeting provided the ideal opportunity to present my case to the full board. The community center room was packed with residents under the buzz of overhead lights. Karen presided at the front table, looking smug until I requested to address the group. I distributed the evidence packets and explained the pattern of her abusive power tactics. Then I played the audio recording of her threatening voicemail for everyone to hear clearly. Her own voice echoed, admitting she would make my life difficult until I obeyed blindly. Shock rippled through the room as board members turned to stare at her in disbelief. Karen attempted to defend herself, but the evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. After a brief deliberation, the board voted unanimously to remove her from the presidential position. She left the meeting in a huff, with her reputation shattered and her authority gone forever. The new leadership proved far more balanced and open to reasonable discussions about rules. They even revised the dead tree policy to accommodate artistic interpretations with board approval. Life in the suburb returned to a peaceful rhythm without the shadow of her tyranny. I enjoy my evenings on the porch now, watching the giant hand stand tall and proud. Its carved finger points skyward as a lasting reminder of standing up for what is right. A quiet chuckle escapes me whenever I think back on the entire ridiculous saga. Sometimes the most satisfying revenge is turning an HOA demand into a permanent work of art. The neighborhood feels freer, and my dead tree has become a beloved local landmark, ironically. And Karen, well, she learned that small-time power trips often lead to big-time downfalls.